Friends and viewer, good day. Today let me tell you about a very beautiful short story written by G.L.Fuentes. The name of this short story is A Letter to God. Fuentes is about this short story is about having an absolute faith in anything. The plot took place in a Latin American country. After discovering his entire crop yield devastated by a terrible hailstorm, the story protagonist, Lancho, writes a letter to a hero. A farmer writes a letter to God for rescuing from Almighty. Even though his requests are partial, if not granted, he is resentful. He challenged the honesty and modesty of the postmaster who provided him with money in the name of God. So then, this is a very beautiful poem, and let me tell you about the author. The name of the author is Gregorio Lopez Fontes. He born in 1897. And he died in 1966. He was a novelist. He was a poet, a journalist from Mexico. He was a prominent chronicler of Mexican Revolution. So he became acquainted with the Indians, farmer worker of American Regional. So this is the story of short story written, the name of which is A Letter to God. This is a very, let me tell you first about the character of this short story. Lancho, a poor farmer, and his family live on the peak of low hill. He was devout follower of God. He is innocent, hopeful, concerned, and unaccountable. Postmaster, a big friendly guy who helped Lancho keep his faith in God himself. He denoted a portion of his salary to Lancho's charity. Another employee of the post office, people who assisted Lancho at the postmaster request when they saw the letter. They laughed at Lancho, yet supported him in his time of need. Lancho described him as a bunch of crooks. So the story start like this. G.L.Fuentes, as you know, the writer of this, telling us a letter to God, illustrate the devout trust of poor, innocent-minded farmer named Lancho. Lancho was a poor but hard-working farmer. He was hoping for a good crop. To his dismay, a hailstorm destroyed all of his crop and production. The poor farmer was caught aback and depressed by the damage. However, he had a profound faith in God. He was well-educated man who could read and write. He was persuaded that God would undoubtedly help him because of his honest personality. As a result, he resolved to write a letter to God addressing his financial issue. In the letter, he pleaded God to provoke him 100 pesos so that he could resow his crops and prevent his family from starvation. He quickly prepared a letter and rushed to the post office. He stamped a letter and placed it into the mailbox. After reading the letter, the postman laughed heartily as he took it from the letter box. He raced up to the postmaster and showed him the weird letter. The postmaster read the letter but burst out laughing when he realized it was addressed to God. However, he was impressed by the farmer's faith. He admired the impoverished farmer persistent truth in God and decided to assist him. Soon after, he instructed the post office employee to contribute some money as charity and also gave a portion of his income so that Lancho's trust in God would not be weakened. However, the money collected was little less than what Lancho had pursued from God. After that, the postman placed all of the money collected in an envelope and delivered it to the poor farmer. The next Sunday, Lancho went to the post office to see whether there was any mail for him. The mail was presented to him gently by the postmaster. Lancho was not surprised to discover a letter with money inside the mail. He confidently opened the envelope to count the money, but got angry when he discovered it contained only 70 peso. He was certain that God could never have made such a terrible mistake. He ran to the window and asked for a paper and ink, then written another letter to God and dropped it into the letter box. When Lancho left, the postmaster quickly opened and read his letter. In it, Lancho complained to God that he was initially asking for 100 peso, but was disappointed to find just 70 peso. Furthermore, he criticized the post office staff for believing that they had taken the remaining 30 peso from his package. He urged God to give him the balance of the money because he was desperate. He was in a desperate need of them. So, however, he asked God not to send the money over the mail because Lancho believed that the post office employee were a bunch of crooks who might have taken the rest of the money from the envelope. So, this is a very interesting, the theme of the letter to God is, it is a matter of faith. From the beginning to the end, the story covers the concept with faith, how it can be challenged in times of hardship. Lancho, persistent confident in God, inspires him to write a letter to God. This faith drives every aspect of the story. Humanity. He witnessed the post office staff showing remarkable humanity in order to retain the writer's faith. Even in the face of adversity, Lancho stays humble. Despite losing his whole crops, he remains hopeful that God will provide for him and his family, and he expresses gratitude to God. This is what humanity is all about, the power of nature. So the story emphasized nature's strength and unpredictability, as well how it can have drastic effects on people's life. The unexpected storm that damaged Lancho's crops acts like a reminder of how little we were in the face of nature's forces. The importance of clear communication. The story also emphasized the necessity of clear communication, how misconception can have serious impact. The post office employees mistake Lancho's letter to God, resulting in an incident that may have been avoided. More communication, social and economic inequality. And this short story, we can see the social and economic inequality. This is another issue, the concept of social. This story is set in a rural area where people are poor and strive to earn a life off the land. Lancho crop failure is a huge damage to his increasingly fragile financial circumstances. He is forced to rely on mercy from God to make ends meet. On the other hand, post office workers belong to a separate economic class. They are government employee with an adequate income, and they consider Lancho's letter as more of curiosity than a desperate call for assistance. This disparity between the haves and haves not create an issue of economic justice and hope. Another theme of this short story is hope. A letter to God. Throughout the story, Lancho firm belief in God's system compels him to write a letter. He feels that my optimism will lead to a solution. In the end, it is Lancho's optimism that triumphs. He receives a letter from God that includes the money he desired. So The whole theme of this letter to God is a lesson emphasizing 3 points. It demonstrates Lancho's unbreakable faith in God and the fact that these who help him individual confirm as fake. Second, it reveals the farmer's Lancho's entire innocence. Third, the lesson shows that even charity might go unrecognized at times. So thank you very much. I hope you will enjoy this short story, The Letter to God.